Spring training baseball 2013 Cactus League style and a little night baseball from the Valley of the Sun, or so we think. At least normally it's the Valley of the Sun. Overcast, it's been raining throughout the day. We hopefully will have a window to get this baseball game in tonight, the Rockies and Kansas City Royals. Welcome to our coverage of Rockies baseball once again on Root Sports with my partner George Frazier. I'm Drew Goodman. Well, 2012, to say the least, did not go the way the Rockies would have liked, and it's time to bounce back.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it started very early in the season. When you lose Tulowitzki in the latter part of May, he's done. He has to have surgery. You lose Gonzalez for a while, Helton, Kadire. 4 big bats out of your lineup. That kills you. Then the pitching side of things, when De La Rosa could not come back from the Tommy John, Chacin was not Chacin until September. That hurts you. Nicasio's out. Now you got to rush kids to the big leagues that, quite frankly, weren't ready to pitch at the big league level. I think they've made strides. Pomeranz made strides the other day against Team USA. Still got to make that jump. De La Rosa's on the mound tonight. We've got to see more consistency out of what De La Rosa can do with the fastball command. And I think the big thing coming out of Tommy John, from everybody I've talked to about this surgery, it's the trusting factor. It's not going to hurt. Go ahead and cut it loose. Go ahead and do what you normally do.
And De La Rosa needs to headline this staff, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, there's no question, Drew. I mean, you're talking about his guy. A, he's the highest paid player in the ball club. Number 2, he was your ace before he got hurt. It wasn't an accident the guy won double digits. I mean, this guy dominated the league. And when he got hurt, he was dominating the league. He can get back to that guy.
Needs to. And Troy Tulowitzki needs to have good health. We'll talk about the Rockies shortstop when we return. Back to a Friday night in the desert. It is overcast and quite cool.
No, it's cold.
Denver.
No, it's cold.
With George Frazier, I'm Drew Goodman. Rockies and Royals getting together. Troy Tulowitzki will not be in the lineup this evening, but we'll still talk about him. He's moving around well. He's starting to swing the bat. He looks like the Troy Tulowitzki we know.
The key for me was back-to-back games. When he played back-to-back games, I don't care if it's 3 innings, 4 innings, whatever, it tells me the body recovered. As you go out and play, you're doing everything you can do to get loose in preparation to play 9 innings, even though you played 3 or 4, then to turn around 24 hours later play again. And I think that was big for me to see that. You watch him take ground balls, you watch him swing the bat, you watch first to thirds. Everything looks like Troy Tulowitzki, and it needs to be Troy Tulowitzki.
The elder statesman's in the lineup, though, tonight.
Hey, my old buddy. Yeah, how about Todd Helton? I walked in today, I said, little rain, little cold, you playing? Yeah, I'm playing. He's excited. Want to be in the lineup.
Absolutely. We are ready to go. The rain hopefully will stay away. Rockies and Royals spring training from the Cactus League. We'll have first pitch next. Is brought to you by your 7 neighborhood Toyota stores. Toyota, let's go places. Yeah, it is quite cold this evening. Temperatures in the 40s. It must be me because I was down for a few days a couple weeks ago, and it snowed 3 inches. Look at Bichette, Walt Weiss. They got the skull caps going.
Yeah, it's a little April game in Coors Field. Don't worry about it.
That's right. It's a 2 batting glove day, even if you're not hitting. So the Rockies taking on the Kansas City Royals tonight. The Rockies, for what it's worth, are 6-5 so far in spring training. They won their last outing against Team USA. They came from behind 7-6 and beat Team USA on Wednesday. They had an off day yesterday. Behind that post is Ned Yost. And his Kansas City Royals were very active in the offseason. We'll talk about that as the evening develops. Here's the Southwest batting order for the Kansas City Royals. Chris Getz, who's a good fielder, bats from the left side. He'll lead things off. Elliott Johnson came from Tampa Bay in the trade that brought James Shields and Wade Davis to Kansas City. Billy Butler, good hitter. He'll be at first base tonight. Jeff Francoeur will be in right field. Lorenzo Cain, good-looking center fielder if he can stay healthy. Brandon Wood was in the Rockies organization at AAA last year. George Kataris can swing the bat. Willie Taveras, our old friend, trying to make the club here in Kansas City. And Jeremy Guthrie, who was a Rocky till he was traded to Kansas City, of course, a year ago, will start for the Royals. Todd Helton, as we mentioned, is in the lineup. Todd will bat third tonight. Tulowitzki not in the lineup. Carlos Gonzalez is with Team Venezuela. There's our Jenny Kavnar off in the background also. We'll hear from Jenny in a little bit. Of the regulars for the Rockies, you'll see Dexter Fowler tonight, Michael Kadire, Tyler Colvin's in the lineup, Josh Rutledge, Chris Nelson. So pretty full complement. Walt Weiss, Ned Yost getting together. And for Walt, what an interesting time. I mean, I always, it cracks me up a little bit, George, that people have made a big deal that he was coaching Regis High School a year ago and now he's a manager. Is that a large jump? Obviously it's a large jump, but pause right there for a moment. He played in the big leagues forever. He was a special assistant for the Rockies. It's not like he's far into Major League Baseball. He knows it backwards and forwards. And is there an adjustment period? Certainly. But he's going to be just fine.
Well, not only was he managing a lot of players at Regis, a lot of parents. That's the bad part about high school baseball. But Mike Matheny was doing just fine. Came out as a junior varsity high school coach.
He couldn't even have the varsity.
Almost went to the World Series. So
right, and you know what?
It's all about communication, managing people is what it's all about, regardless of the age. And I think Walt will do a good job at it.
Walt will do a very good job, and the Chicago White Sox were in the same situation last year.
That's right. Ventura came out, hadn't even managed anywhere.
Yep,
just working as an assistant.
Yep, Rob Ventura had never managed. Let's take a look at the Rockies defensively tonight. EYLB in left field. He's played all over so far this spring. Dexter Fowler, Michael Kadire. It'll be Chris Nelson, Reed Brignac, Josh Rutledge, Todd Helton, and behind the plate, our old friend, Yorvi Torrealba. And you know what? It's good to see him back in a Rockies uniform. He's trying to make this club.
Big smile.
And tonight's starting defense is brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's built Ford tough. So De La Rosa on the mound. And, you know, it's silly to say this is a big start for a guy on March the 8th. But, George, you'd like to see some progress because, quite frankly, the first few starts did not go as he'd like in terms of command.
Well, you're all excited, and you're thinking after last year's September, as you look at there, 9.28 earned run average, 6 strikeouts. He did give up 5 home runs in 10 2/3 innings. So, I mean, the thing is, he came out in the spring excited, want to make a statement, and it has not gone well. Has not had good command of his fastball or his curveball, changeup. It's been a little bit of a battle for him. And I think confidence-wise to carry over for the next 3 weeks in preparation for that series in Milwaukee, it all starts right here tonight.
And he'll be working with Yorvi Torrealba, and this is good for De La Rosa because Torrealba is a guy that is very demanding behind the plate. He's been around a long time, and he's not afraid to jog out to the mound and not make suggestions, but make declarations, if you will.
Well, he takes command of the game. That's something he's always done. As a young player, when he was with the Giants, traded out, comes back over, and when he was with the Rockies, he ran the pitching staff. Did a very good job of it.
So here we go. Chris Getz will lead things off for the Kansas City Royals. They're really excited in Kansas City about the prospects for the Royals this year. They had to remake their rotation. They traded Will Myers, who is arguably the top prospect in baseball, to Tampa. And the first pitch cuts away, ball one at 91. For James Shields, big game James, 6 straight years, 200-plus innings. Wade Davis, who wants to start and was working out of the pen for Tampa. And so they've remade their rotation in that there's now a battle between Bruce Chen and Luke Hoshaver for the number 5 spot for the Royals. And those guys were pitching near the top of the rotation last year.
Yeah, they were 1 and 2. And don't forget, you got Mendoza in that mix, too. You got 3 guys that have been very productive for their ball club. That you're right. They're on the outside trying to get into a rotation and trying to stay with the ball club, quite frankly. And I think that Ned Yost likes to have those decisions. For years, the Royals had won the AA Texas League Championship with all of these prospects. But they had not panned out at the big league level. And they made a tough decision this winter when they got rid of Will Myers. Great player.
So right out of the chute, De La Rosa falls behind 3-1. The misses in his first couple of first 3 outings were pronounced. He's behind 3-1, but they've been near misses. Let's see if he can find the zone here. And he maybe got a break from Mike Molinsky. That looked like it could have been up and in just as easily as called a strike.
Elevated fastball, but he did get the call strike. Now come back and make a pitch.
And a bouncer to Rutledge, easy play, good start. Gets retired 4-3, and now the switch hitting utility man Elliott Johnson will come up. He's at shortstop tonight. Alcides Escobar will be the starting shortstop for the Royals. You know who's trying to make their club, George? Miguel Tejada.
Having a good spring, too. Went down to winter ball, played for Aguila Sabanas, and the Dominican hit 302 there.
Did you play for Aguila?
Uh-huh.
That's what
sure
I thought.
did, up in the mountains.
That was a good look at fastball in the inside corner at 93. Good movement on the hook. He was out of the zone. 1 ball, 1 strike. De La Rosa, a 16-game winner a few years ago. Pitching very well at the time of his injury to the elbow. That's fouled out of play, 1-2. De La Rosa, a former Kansas City Royal. Always had just great stuff, a great arm. And I think the Rockies organization did a very good job of helping him command his emotions.
I really believe that Bob Apodaca did a great job with him when he came over. Remember the first ball game, 10 runs in 3 innings against the Dodgers? He was horrible. And I think he kind of reeled it in from there, and it got better. De La Rosa trusted Apodaca, who he knew from the Milwaukee days, and now he's putting his trust in Jimmy Wright.
Rene Latchman to Jim's left. Dante Bichette obviously on the right. And that's just off the plate. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Normally it's hard to get a ticket at Salt River Fields. Tonight you could get a ticket. A lot of people say, you know what, I think I'll wait for the afternoon affairs when it's a little warmer. And the changeup missed badly. And you see a demonstrative tap of the left shoulder by Torrealba saying, stay closed. He flew open, and that's why that pitch missed about 2 feet outside. 3-2. And that's a bouncing ball down the left field line past a diving Chris Nelson. And Eric Young Jr. will retrieve it, and it's a 1-out double for Elliott Johnson.
You get into a fastball situation, imperative that you have good command of the fastball. Elevated inside, Torrealba wanted the ball away from him. And again, these hard fields, regardless of rain, it was covered up. Ball slid right by Chris Nelson down to the corner.
This guy can flat hit.
Forte, good fastball hitter.
Look at those numbers. He had 51 doubles last year. And he's excited tonight, George, because he's their DH. And he loves to get out there and play first base. Of course, Eric Hosmer will be their first baseman. He's with Team USA right now. But Butler was fired up.
Big, strong bat, strong guy, RBI guy.
Taking off for third and stealing third is Elliott Johnson. He had 18 bags last year for Tampa. You will see guys against a lefty who have better than average speed steal third base sometimes with ease because they get in that blind spot.
But particularly slow to the plate.
Yeah.
That's why you got to get the double look, step off, check your runners, because with one out now, and an RBI guy at the plate, your 3-hole up, you put yourself in a little bit of a jam where a guy to get hit the ball, fly ball, get a run out of this.
Butler got it in the air plenty deep enough. Johnson will come on down. Butler with an RBI.
Johnson at third base. There's one out. You got a fly ball guy. You got a guy that can get after it as far as driving in runs, and that's exactly what Butler did. I think for De La Rosa, too, is focusing so much on fastball command, not walking people, working ahead in counts. Forgot about the runner at second, advanced, and then made a decent pitch with the fastball, but a good hitter at the plate.
Here's Jeff Francoeur, former Atlanta Brave, also with the New York Mets, and he got hit on that breaking ball in the leg, so he'll go to first base. And this is what we've seen from De La Rosa. A lot of deep pitch counts, George. And you know, he hasn't walked anybody, but now he's hit a guy. We've seen him walk some guys, and just not crisp.
2-3-2 counts in the ball game so far. Now the big breaking ball on the inside, and again, it's all about release point. Caught him right on the top of the toe. First pitch breaking ball. This is more of an 0-2 type breaking ball. Throw that first pitch breaking ball for a strike. Try to throw it in the middle of the plate.
Here's Lorenzo Cain, and he takes a fastball in the inside corner. They like him a lot. They believe, George, he can be a 20-home run guy as a center fielder. His big issue has been staying healthy.
Staying healthy, and you know the other side of this with the additions to their ball club. There's not one or two guys feeling that they're the ones drawing the crowd that have the pressure of success. They've got a good baseball team. Are they going to really get after the Detroit Tigers? You know, that's yet to be seen. That's an all-star team they have in Detroit. But they're going to be a whole lot better than they were a year ago, I can tell you that. Take a look at the check swing here. Did he go after that breaking ball? Did. Fooled by it completely.
So a 2-strike count on Cain. 2 outs, a run in for Kansas City, top of the first, and that's inside. 1-2. How about the Royals? Got off to an 11-0 start. They won their first 11 ball games. They lost yesterday 12-2 to Seattle.
Ticket sales went up.
And all the cynics say, save some of those for April.
Well, I tell you what, at their Fan Fest this year in Kansas City, 12,000 people. Largest crowd they've ever had at a Fan Fest. 12,000.
Right side, and Rutledge comes up with it. Nice play by Josh Rutledge. Whether you put him on the left side or the right side, this kid can pick it. A run in the first inning on the Billy Butler fly ball. There's Walt Weiss. We'll hear from Walt in the fifth inning. He'll join us during the broadcast tonight. 1-0 Kansas City. Let's take a look at tonight's starting lineup. Brought to you by Southwest Airlines. The batting order for the Rockies. EY up top. Dexter Fowler will bat the 2-hole. Then Helton, Kadire, Colvin, Torrealba, Rutledge, Chris Nelson, and the DH is in place tonight, even though it's a National League ballpark. That's up to the home team. Reed Brignac will play shortstop and bat ninth. Jeremy Guthrie, when he first went over to Kansas City, struggled in his first couple of starts, and then Georgia's last dozen starts, he went 5-1 with a low ERA, and was rewarded with a 3-year, $25 million deal.
181 innings pitched a year ago, both with Colorado and Kansas City. But when we went to Kansas City, he became the ace, basically, of their staff the last couple of months of the season. Once he settled in, made one adjustment on his delivery. When he drops his hands, he's been able to let him ride lower and allowed him to get more of a downward plane, create more movement on the baseball. I think instead of trying to strike out everybody and throw it through the wind, now he's just trying to get sink and move, get ball on the ground.
2-0, and he falls behind 3-0. And that's at the knees, 3-1. And Junior working the count, takes that on the inside corner, 3-2. Mentioning that Walt Weiss loves Eric Young Jr., and it's hard not to because he has game-changing speed. He works his tail off, and Walt's not afraid to play him in the infield. And he draws a walk against Guthrie to begin things. And this is the duo, George, that you'd see a little bit in Double-A when you were home in Tulsa. Eric Young and Dexter Fowler, not only the best of friends, but they grew up together in the minor leagues, and it was always Junior leading off and Dexter batting second. And they scored a lot of runs.
And you threw in Chris Nelson, who was there at that time, hitting third and fourth. So you had this threesome there together. At the top of the lineup with these two guys, even from Double-A on up, this is what you envisioned at the big league level. And again, that's where Walt's going to have a difficult task of getting places for EY to play all the time. And with Gonzalez gone right now playing for Venezuela, it allows the opportunity for EY to get some regular playing time.
That's down low as Fowler showed bunt, and that drew the attention of Brandon Wood at third base. And also, let's point this out. Last year when Eric Young Jr. was out there in whether it be left field or on occasion center field, he did a very nice job. He does not have a strong arm, but his routes were pretty clean. This ball's roped down the right field line, and it's going to run near the corner. EY is going to get a late stop sign from Stu Cole on a double by Dexter Fowler.
Early on, Guthrie, a lot of fastballs, and the Rockies have took advantage of it. Ball inner half, looking to try to sink the baseball. Elevated, Dexter. Back leg, very good load on the backside by Dexter. Hands explode through it and drives it down in towards the Rockies bullpen.
And now Todd Helton in his last start. Todd had a ground rule double to left after a lengthy at bat, and this one to deep short. And that's a nice job by Helton getting the run home. That equalizes things at one apiece.
Well, this is exactly what Todd's talking, or what Walt's talking about. Todd, get out of bed and drive in a run. I don't care if he is age at any point in time, and he did that exactly with the middle of the infield playing back.
Starting defense for the Royals brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's built Ford tough. Tavares, a center fielder by trade and left field tonight. Lorenzo Cain, Jeff Francoeur is not actually in right field. Right field, that's Luis Durango, Brandon Wood, Elliot Johnson, Chris Getz, Billy Butler. In the infield, the former Milwaukee Brewer, George Kataris, is behind the plate. And a strike on Michael Kadire. A ribby out there for Kadire.
A lot of history between the two players, Guthrie and Kadire. Kadire playing for the Twins all those years, and Guthrie with the Orioles. Well, big move on that fastball at 94. Remember a year ago when Guthrie at spring training was throwing 97?
Yeah. And you and I both looked at each other. We didn't realize he had that kind of top end.
Right. We didn't realize his fastball had a kind of, and to do it with movement, as he did with that last pitch, 94, with a big sink and run. Very good example right there of what Guthrie was doing that De La Rosa didn't do with a runner at third base and one out. Was the double look back 2 or 3 times, make sure he tries to tighten Dexter's lead up. His second baseman came over twice on the baseball get to try to move it. Yeah, he jumped there pretty good and go get him.
And he's out. So Dexter Fowler is picked off second base for the second out in the inning.
Guessing. That's all you're doing. You're guessing, thinking he's going to pick the leg and go to the plate. Guthrie did not use the spin move. He just turned around, stepped off the back of the rubber, and fired a strike.
He's a tremendous athlete. We talked about it a lot last year, but George, you were right-handed pitcher. That's a little bit unconventional how he did that.
A lot of guys, and again, what Drew's talking about, you don't typically see them pick the leg up and step with it and then twist the body and turn and throw, because it's an awkward throw. You have a tendency to throw that ball away, throw it on the ground, throw it over their heads. Most of the time you do that 360. You step off and do a complete spin where you're in a more balanced position. And that's what Drew's talking about. Guthrie being such a good athlete, he's able to make that move.
Well, you're right about the movement, George. You see how much that ball moved at 94?
Big sink, big hard run. Makes it hard on a right-hander to extend. You think that ball's right in front of you, and you think middle half, and even when you open up, it runs to that trademark.
High fly ball, right center field. And Luis Durango is underneath it. Rockies got a leadoff walk. Eric Young moved to third on a double by Fowler. Came in on a Helton ground out, 1-1. Rockies and Royals tied at 1. As we go to inning number 2, Jorge De La Rosa will face Brandon Wood, George Gutaris, and Willie Taveras. Brandon Wood, once one of the top prospects in the game. He mashed in his minor league career in the Angels organization, but has never been able to gain traction in his time in the big leagues. And now, unfortunately for Brandon, he's become a journeyman.
Still trying to find his way. I mean, there's guys that get a taste, that's all they want to get, and they want to get back there again. They'll stay and play as long as they possibly can. And a guy that obviously had a lot of talent at one time. And maybe that'll come back and find it. Something towards, twitch goes off, and all of a sudden he starts playing good baseball.
So 2 balls and a strike on Wood. And that's high and away, 3-1. So again, another deep pitch count for Jorge De La Rosa.
Nationally averaged about 15, 16 pitches per inning. He had 20 in the first.
And it's a whole lot easier on a hitter when you're in 2-0-3-1 counts. You can kind of eliminate virtually everything but dead red.
Well, and the other thing, you can eliminate the curveball so far. And throwing it for a strike. So that's all you're looking. I mean, the one changeup was high, wide, arm side, and the curveball's been in the dirt and hit a guy.
Torrealba catching him. And that was a pretty good 3-2 pitch. A little flare that Rutledge will track down. 1 out. I'll bring up the catcher, George Gutaris, left-handed hitter. And I have both my partners with me tonight because Jeff Hewson is 7:05 game time, dude.
Oh, was it? I thought it was 1 o'clock.
Yeah, I know you were here early.
There was rain.
You were here early.
Yeah, we couldn't get on the field.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be back. It's our 8th year together now. Hard to believe.
It's like a marriage. It's like
Let's not get that started. 1988. 1988, he's standing on a camera box. Don't get that started.
I know.
I still have to, hey, listen, to get up to your guys' level, I still need that camera box. That's a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, man.
Goody, was that 25 years ago? Are you kidding me?
It was when I wore a younger man's shoes, to steal a Billy Joel line. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Well, Hugh, you've been down back and forth as we all have. What have your observations been so far?
Well, I look at some of the young guys that have been playing here early in camp. Of course, I know there's a lot been talked about Nolan Arenado and what he's done, but I also look at some of the guys that are coming back healthy. Troy, it's nice to see Troy Tulowitzki back out playing back-to-back games. I know he's not playing tonight, a cool night, all that, but just little things like that. It has been fun. Michael Kadire healthy again.
Well, Todd Helton makes the play easily, flips over to De La Rosa. 2 outs.
And also a couple opportunities to see Josh Rutledge out at second base. And we saw some of that last year, but to be able to work with Troy on the double play and all the nuances when that runner's bearing down on you and you don't have that sight line, you have to rely just on your instincts to make the turn.
So here's Willie Taveras. Boy, Willie's such a big part of that run in 2007 for the Colorado Rockies. Good guy and trying to keep things going. Makes his offseason home in the Houston area. A couple years ago, Willie was in AAA for the Rockies. Did a good job. And it's a towering fly ball in the direction of Kadire in right. A strong inning for De La Rosa. 1-2-3 in the second. 1 apiece, middle of 2 at Salt River Field.
Welcome back to Scottsdale for Rockies Spring Training Baseball. Rockies and Royals all tied up at 1 as some very special kids look on. As we know, spring training has some fun value for the family to come down for some trips, a great place for friends to gather, but this weekend it is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for some teenagers from Denver, including those 2 kids that you saw coming back here on our broadcast. These kids, teenagers, 13 to 17 years old, 18 of them were picked from Children's Hospital. They're all cancer patients, and it's a weekend away from their parents, a time to express those freedoms of teenagers and enjoy the everyday life that they don't get as they're robbed from some of their illness. This trip sponsored by Troy Tulowitzki, and the kids got an opportunity today to meet him, a meet and greet at a barbecue, and for Troy, it was a no-brainer to partner with Children's Hospital.
Well, good work by Troy, and it's great that these young folks could be at the ball game. Wish it was a little warmer for them tonight. Tyler Colvin at the plate.
It'll be good tomorrow.
It's supposed to clear up. It's supposed to be better tomorrow, and very nice on Sunday when we're on the air against the Dodgers. Colvin, a real nice year last year for the Rockies. .290 average. Hit 18 home runs last year, drove in 72 in just 136 games. And it's not like all of those were starts.
You know, it happened for me, Jeff. I don't know if it did for you sometimes. Change of scenery was everything.
Yes, and he needed that after the year he had in Chicago before he came over in the trade.
Particularly playing in a rough city like Chicago, media-wise, talk radio and all those things gets in your head a little bit as a young player, difficult. He came here and he was outstanding.
And a nice welcome for Torrealba. And again, I know there's not a ton of folks here because of the weather, but Yorvi Torrealba, a very popular Rocky and instrumental in their last 2 playoff teams, the 07 World Series team and the 92-win team of 2009. I think the best way, Huey, to describe Yorvi Torrealba, he brings moxie.
Yeah, it's that if you're not doing something well, either be it on the pitching side or someone in the dugout, he'll let you know. And he's got a little bit of that attitude that you need to have to play this game. It's fun to watch him catch, too, and he fires that ball back to the pitcher. He reminds me a lot, George, and you know, is Tony Pena. The way he gets it, I mean, he'll fire it back there and say, come on, let's go.
Exactly. I mean, and he's a guy that's going to get you going on the mound. You might get mad at him a few times with some of the antics he pulls, but what he's trying to do is get you fired up enough to do your job.
And he waits on the breaking ball, and it's a pop fly down the right field line that's going to land in the seats. 1-2. And, of course, Ramon Hernandez working with Willeen Rosario. And Torrealba brought in because you never know with injuries or what takes place. But Torrealba, well thought of by the Rockies organization, and it's a mutual respect.
I mean, you know what, if you think back on it, what was it, $200,000, $300,000, and Ego got involved. Instead of signing back, you got $6.5 million versus $6 million. I mean, they made him a very good offer to come back.
Yeah,
and he left.
I think it was a little more than that, but you know, the Rangers did offer him. I think it was 6.3, and whatever the difference was, and I think he ended up in Texas.
I think if you ask him today, though, he probably would have been happier in a Rockies uniform. He seemed like the best years of his career were in a Rocky uniform. The excitement of winning, excitement of being that leader.
You know, and thinking back to that period of time, fellas, both years, both playoff runs, Chris Iannetta had done the bulk of the catching until it got down to middle August through September into the playoffs. This is Bouncer forgets.
Yeah, you're right, the hot hand.
And then Torrealba took over. And it's not a knock on Chris Iannetta, who was still a young and developing player at the time, but Torrealba forced his way into the lineup, not just offensively, but as George pointed out, how he handles a pitching staff.
He's just a leader.
2 outs, nobody on, and Josh Rutledge will take his turn. You see him tonight batting in the 7th spot. This is a guy who brings lineup versatility, doesn't he?
Well, you can hit number 2 in the lineup if that's where you want it. If Eric Young Jr. is not going to play, then it's Dexter Fowler who would lead off, then Josh would hit second. But if EY leads off, slide Dexter like they're doing tonight to the number 2 spot, and Josh has the ability to go back down to the 7th where he's can be more of an RBI producer in that slot.
And we saw a slew of extra base hits, particularly when he first came up. I think he got tired, and then he had the quad injury that curtailed his offense a little bit. And there's a line drive, base hit to left. And the way he runs, you better hustle and get it in if you're Durango.
Well, the thing about Josh is I think, too, and you ask any young player, all of us go through it, that first extra month of the season gets you. You have to play those other 30 days. And then everybody's like, oh, come on, just 6 months? Well, it's everything involved in it. It's the travel, it's the games, it's the excitement. It's all everything that goes along with the big leagues. And you ask every young player, that extra month really extends the season.
And the only way you can prepare for it is to go through it. I can tell you how to do it, how it needs to be done. But until you live it, that extra 25 games, 30 days, it's just hard to explain that this is how you have to prepare in the off season for that extra month.
Pretty good numbers for Chris Nelson last year, 301 batting average. I know this much. We showed Dante Bichette a couple times already. Dante, he's getting used to, all these guys. He's watched them from afar when he's living down in Florida, but he didn't have a relationship with, and with some of the younger guys, completely unfamiliar with swing and so forth. He's told me a couple times he has been really impressed with Chris Nelson and his offensive capabilities.
And you can see why, because Chris has the strength to hit the ball out to any part of the ballpark, but he'll also drive it into the gaps, hit some doubles, has the speed for that, and he's learned his swing.
He gets caught looking there. Second strikeout of the inning for Jeremy Guthrie. Rutledge a single. He's left the board. 1-1 as we go to the third. One apiece. If that gentleman would turn his head, you'll recognize him. George Brett in attendance tonight. Rockies fans, Root Sports bring you another spring training game on Sunday. Rockies will take on the Los Angeles Dodgers of Don Mattingly, 2 p.m. Watch the team as they prepare for the 2013 season right here on Root Sports. Make sure you turn your clocks ahead Saturday night. Daylight savings time. Luis Durango leading things off out of the 9th spot in the lineup. Then it'll be Chris Getz and Elliot Johnson. Scratched out a first inning run against Jorge De La Rosa. Johnson bounced a 1-out double down the line, would steal third and score on a fly ball by Billy Butler. 1-2-3 second inning for De La Rosa. But he's been spraying the fastball. It's 2-0. George, your son went through the same surgery as Jorge De La Rosa. Parker Frazier, who's in big league camp right now. And he got back relatively quickly, but it's a, there's a trust factor with your elbow. There's a lot of mental things you're trying to get over and then recapture your mechanics also. There's Parker.
Yeah, he's in backup role tonight down in the bullpen for the Rockies, but you're exactly right. What you have to do is you have to pitch through the pain sometime and the discomfort to get pushed through all of that to where you do trust the elbow, you do trust the surgery, that you're going to be fine. And I think that's where Jorge fought through a lot of things last year, just didn't get there. That's nasty.
Yeah, location and a little tail on it. Durango dismissed. First strikeout of the ball game for De La Rosa. Since we're talking pitching here, who else is scheduled this evening? Tyler Chatwood, trying to compete for a rotation spot. The veteran Miguel Batista. Edgmer Escalona did some good work in the bullpen late last year, and an old friend again, Manuel Corpus. And Manny's throwing the ball pretty well, George.
He's throwing the ball well. It's a low three-quarter action. It's not the same thing, but he's a guy that could come in and fill one of those long relief roles the Rockies are looking for, a couple of guys to take over.
Gets bounced to Josh Rutledge at second his first time. Well, those last two fastballs were right where you want them, George. Down at the knees.
Well, what he's doing, he's really separating his hands timely out of the glove over the rubber. There's not any kind of floating forward and allowing the arm to get out late. That hesitation, see the arm come out right now as the leg starts to go down. It allows just that. Very good snap on the off-speed pitch at 83.
Looks like he's getting a little sharper as the ball game has moved into the second and now third inning.
20 pitches in the first inning, 13 in the second inning. And then now working very well ahead of everyone. Misses badly with that fastball. And a lot of times that's not so much arm angle. A lot of times you'll see pitchers or catchers whistle at you and say, get your arm up, let your arm get flat. But a lot of times what you do is you try to get extra. And when it gets quick, your hand gets flat, gets outside the baseball.
2-2 with one out. Chris Getz at the plate. Leading off tonight for the Royals. And where's that? Ought to rung him up, especially on a cold night. 3-2.
Well, he couldn't have walked in handed maybe any better. I mean, Torrealba, a very good job receiving the baseball. He wanted to flip it down to Nelly at third.
Chris Getz, I guarantee you, thought he was done.
He is now.
Yeah. Helton will flip to De La Rosa. De La just got the foot down in front of Getz. 2 outs. I wanted to point this out, George. We haven't seen De La Rosa much the last couple of years. 3 starts late last year, just trying to get a feel back on the big league mound. Let's remember, even when De La Rosa won 16 ball games and was one of the better rotation guys in the National League, he's never been a big command guy. He's walked guys. He works deep counts. I mean, it's not like he's Roy Halladay out there.
But the other thing he had the ability to do was strike people out, and sometimes very high numbers, and that has disappeared, I think. And I think the other thing I noticed today on a couple of his breaking balls, there was one there. It's either changeup or slider, but it's a trust of a move of a slider. I mean, straight ahead, down, right turn into the batter. Very good location of that pitch.
0-1 on Elliott Johnson, who had that bouncing double down the left field line his first time up and has scored the only run for Kansas City. De La Rosa was very candid at the start of spring training. He said in those 3 starts that you saw me late last year, he was afraid to really spin the baseball. And now he has a comfort level with that elbow that, as you can see tonight, because he's thrown some dandy sliders here the last couple of innings.
Yeah, really good.
That's not an issue.
No, that's a good pitch there at 83 miles an hour, up on top, very good command. Chatwood's warming up, so it's probably going to be it for De La Rosa. 3 innings, and when you've scuffled, get him out of there with a good attitude, feeling good about what you accomplished. Shaking on him. See, he's back calling his own game here. Torrealba wants to make sure they're on the same page. He went fastball in, curveball changed, and he wanted fastball away.
This looked like a slider he put down. Yep.
Confidence to be able to throw that thing for a strike. But you can tell, a little different attitude, better body language, everything when you have success, that confidence rides up.
Here's a 2-2 on Johnson with 2 outs, and he got him on a changeup. And George, not what you wanted to see perhaps in the first inning, but he's retired 7 straight. And if that, in fact, is all for De La Rosa, a big step forward this spring.
48 pitches. Love it. 3 innings.
Ball on a, 1-1 is the score. Reed Brignac's going to lead things off out of the 9th spot in the lineup. We were chatting with Walt Weiss earlier this spring, and the natural question, one he's handled quite frequently, why come out of a nice semi-retirement to manage at the big league level?
Well, who wouldn't?
From my perspective, it was somewhat of a perfect storm. I've been with the club for 11 years in a variety of roles, 4 as a player and 7 as a special assistant / coach. So I had familiarity with the organization, with a lot of the people that are still here, a lot of the coaches that are still here. But at the same time, I've been away from it for a few years. So, an opportunity to manage a club where I live, where I played, where I worked. Like I said, it was somewhat of a perfect storm.
Well, the way I like to describe Walt Weiss is Reed Brignac serves one the other way. Walt Weiss has a unique ability to be the nicest guy in a room and the toughest guy in the room without saying a whole lot.
It's all the respect he commanded as a player, as a special assistant, being around the game. People that he liked and trusted, too, are on that coaching staff. Guys he held close to him as teammates. Coaches that played a part in it.
Junior up there against Jeremy Guthrie. Second look at Guthrie. He drew a walk on a 3-2 pitch and ended up scoring a run. Dexter Fowler had a double down the right field line to make it second and third, and Helton hit a ground ball to short that drove in the run. 1-1. Bottom of the third inning. There's Dex waiting. Brignac takes off. The hit and run is on. You can tell a couple ways, if you're at the ballpark in particular, it's a little more difficult on television unless we give you a split screen, that you can tell it's a hit and run. Brignac paused just slightly, making doubly sure that the ball was going to the plate. And now a pitch out behind that, and it's 2-1. No action from Brignac there. There's Stu Cole. Stu, a longtime skipper in the Rockies organization. The last few years doing a nice job in Colorado Springs, which is, George, as you know, the most difficult place to manage is AAA.
42 pitchers they used last year at AAA.
Was that all?
42. Think about that.
3-1, and Stu rewarded for all his hard work. He's going to be up here.
Well deserved.
Third base,
Yeah,
absolutely
no
well
Worked
deserved.
a couple of years in Tulsa there before he went to Colorado Springs, lower levels in the minor leagues. Been around a long, long time.
And here is the staff for Walt Weiss. Tom Runnels remains, and what a valuable asset it is to have TR on the bench. Once again for the Rockies, Bichette, as we've talked about, Jimmy Wright moves from the bullpen, but he's been the pitching coach in the past. Bo McLaughlin is the assistant pitching coach. Renee Latchman at first base. Look at it. That get him? That got him. So EY hit by a pitch. And it is first and second, nobody out for Dexter.
Fastball, trying to throw this ball in or half, but elevated and got it right almost in the middle of EY's chest. Well, Latch, I think, coaching in Colorado Springs, a little higher elevation, a little colder nights, maybe some snow down there a little bit. And never fails, Latch go get a little attention drawn over there. Has he got ski gloves on, too, to go on with those masks?
Yeah, he's got ski gloves.
I thought he did.
He's ready to go up to Winter Park. And Dex lays down a beautiful bunt. Got three. Listen, he didn't have. There's no way he was going to get Brignac. The ball stayed in his glove, and he realized he's not going to get Fowler either. And he nearly threw it down the left field line. Bases loaded, nobody out for Helton.
I don't think he had a shot at Dexter. I think he realized it very early here. His move was a quick spin automatically, and I think if he got it out of the glove, he may have had an outside chance, but it's going to have to be a bang-bang perfect throw for him to do that. He had no shot at Dexter or EY.
Well, this is what the Rockies want to do. They want to be aggressive on the base paths. They have a lot of, just like last year, if they had health, they have a lot of guys who can run and a lot of good athletes. Strike one on Helton. And the reason I point out the athletic ability, it may not be, a guy with Eric Young's speed, but they have a lot of guys who can steal 12, 14, 18 bags.
And if you get a good lead, you're a little bit aggressive, you're on your toes, you'll get there.
Michael Kadire is a good situational base stealer. Tulowitzki. Good swing by Helton. He's had good bat speed, and he's driven the ball. I'm talking primarily about batting practice this spring. The hip is fine, and the hip helps the back, George. If the hips and the legs are underneath Todd, he's going to give you great at bats and be able to drive the baseball. But you're not going to see him 6 days a week, though.
Not making any excuses at all, as George Brett loves to admire good hitters, veteran hitters. Looks at Todd a lot like the way he looked at himself. Guy drives in runs, contact guy. He's not going to be bashful at all about what he does, and that's George Brett.
Ooh, that was close. 1-2.
Well, I think anybody realized how bad Todd hurt. I mean, with the labral tear in his hip, the lower back issues, quad and hamstrings. I mean, he had all kinds of things going on. And he got all of those fixed. I mean, the body's got some new parts.
Good eye, 2-2. Nobody out. Brignac at third. EY and Fowler aboard. And Todd hits a high fly ball to plenty deep center field. Brignac will tag. EY's tagging. And another productive at bat for number 17. He's got both RBIs tonight.
Exactly right. I mean, here's a guy that had the infield was back up the middle. He just kind of soft served one up the middle, gets an RBI. Here he drives the ball 300 feet from home plate, gets another RBI. This is exactly what Walt Weiss is talking about Todd Helton. It can be, now he's disappointed. He didn't jump on that fastball and drive it. Chet's down there talking to him. But he did the job you're asking him to do. He drove the run in.
Good base running by Junior also. Now Kadire, again, another situational at bat. Less than 2 outs, runner at third. Lift the baseball. Or if you find a hole and get one cleanly through. Either way, you got great speed at third. What a beautiful thing having Eric Young Jr. at third base. I mean, it's not like you got to hit one of the wall.
Well, that'll end up in the seats. Hey, I want to invite everybody for opening day weekend, all the festivities that are going on at Coors Field. Something really special. The 1993 team's going to be there in attendance on April the 6th and 7th. So everybody's going to be excited to see those players come back again. Get your tickets for the opening weekend in Denver. Anxious to see those guys, Drew. Thinking him will be a little overweight.
Was that misery loves company?
Oh, I'm telling you. That's exactly right. It's the greatest thing about old timers days. You look in the mirror and you go, hey, I don't look half as bad as I thought I did.
Let's see if Dexter takes off here, 1-2.
Good time to do it. Force the throw.
Yeah.
On line and maybe steal a run with the speed at third.
Not going. And this is slowly hit to third. It'll get the run home. Only one play, and that's the first. Billy Butler comes up with a low throw from Wood. And Michael Kadire gets an RBI. And the Rockies have created a couple of runs here. They're up 3-1. So often in a dugout, whether it's at the amateur level or at the highest level, you say, get it in play. You get it in play.
Well, it doesn't change.
You know, and because, even though it wasn't a thing of beauty, because Kadire got it in play and didn't hit it very hard, you get an RBI, and there's another marker up on the board. Colvin with 2 outs and Fowler at second. And the runs that have been created this inning, George, more of what the Rockies have to do on the road, particularly in those tough NL West parks on the West Coast.
Speed, speed, speed. Get on base, steal a base, try to advance, lay down a bunt, make things happen, make the defense move.
Rockies come up with a pair of runs. They have a 3-1 lead as we go to inning number 4 at Salt River Fields. Well, there's one of the all-time great Rockies, Dante Bichette, who, like Walt Weiss, was not involved in professional baseball when he got a call, and a couple of them, to come out of professional retirement and become the Rockies hitting coach. And he accepted, as you know.
It's really neat. I mean, I felt like this is where I belong, you know. It's like riding a bike in this organization with me. I felt real comfortable coming back in here. I understand, you know, how important it is for them to perform well and win for our fans. And it's really neat with the team we got this year because it has a chance to be that powerful team again, you know, and a lot of young, powerful players, and we're excited.
Well, he's come up with a new nickname for the middle of that order, or maybe the entire order on Blake Street. He wants them to become the Blake Street Bullies. Tyler Chatwood's on the hill now to pitch at least a couple of innings if all goes well. Chatwood last year got into 19 games, 12 as a starter. And George, similar to what we talked about with De La Rosa, command and command down in the zone is what Tyler has to capture.
I mean, we're seeing it now. 3-0 count right now on the very first batter. Trying to work all fastballs. I think it's all about rhythm, getting the hand out of the glove again, which he's made some changes there. It's fastball called at 90 on the outside corner. He's got electric type stuff.
Billy Butler at the plate. 3, 4, and 5 for Kansas City. Jeff Francoeur and Lorenzo Cain to follow. New battery mate. That is a right side ground ball. And Henry Wrigley's now at first base. Tyler Chatwood was originally going to go to UCLA as a shortstop, so you can see his athletic ability there. And he came up with the throw. So 1 out. Rosario's behind the plate for Torrealba, and of course Chatwood on the hill, Wrigley at first. Those are the only 3 changes. They will not be the last 3 changes, though, of the evening. Joel Klatt. Joel, now we have your mic up. How are you?
How are we doing?
No, most importantly, how are you feeling? Because last night we had a nice dinner together.
Man.
You were telling jokes. We actually told jokes that were funny
Right.
for a change. We were enjoying ourselves. And then this morning, when I had to go get something from you, you look like death warmed over. Are you better?
Oh, my goodness. I am feeling a little bit better. I had one of those kind of the quick 20-hour, 24-hour flu bugs going on, and it was not pretty, as you saw this morning when you had to drop by and get some of the radio equipment from my hotel room. But, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better now. I know George is a little uncomfortable right now.
I got grandkids, so just welcome to having young kids, pal. When they go out with the other little kids, they bring things home with you, and then they like attack you a month later.
No doubt about it. Yeah, that's absolutely the truth. Henry's now 14 months old, so
flying around the house. You can't just put him somewhere and then do a chore for 10 minutes. That doesn't work.
You can't put the vanilla wafers on the bottom shelf of the pantry either. He'll get them out, boy. They're all over the floor. There's no doubt.
They're a lot like puppy dogs.
That's right.
Well, unfortunately, getting a little rainfall here at the ballpark right now.
Yeah, they said that more could come in. 2 outs. Lorenzo Cain at the plate. Tyler Chatwood. Got Francoeur on that line drive to right. I go back to last year, fellas, with Tyler Chatwood, and every time his name came up, Todd Helton, Michael Kadire would talk about how nasty his stuff was.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's a matter of commanding it. When he got sent to the minor leagues, he was sent to Tulsa. Got to watch a lot of his starts in Tulsa. When he was in rhythm and time, it was nasty. When he wasn't, he became a one-pitch pitcher. He didn't have the slider, curveball, changeup. He had to go with strictly fastball.
George, you talk a lot about with him getting his hand out of the glove, and you can tell when he gets late, that body just starts sliding, and that arm can just never catch up. The ball stays up, and
Front
hitters
side
jump
flies.
all over that.
Right. Well, you see the ball earlier. Your front side flies. You got to pull going to the first base instead of straight down. Makes it a lot more difficult. Good jam shot here.
Reed Brignac gets rid of it quickly, and 1-2-3 inning for Tyler Chatwood. Rain, go away. Seldom said in Scottsdale, Arizona. 3-1 Rockies. Cactus League Baseball on Root Sports is brought to you by the Ford F-150. It's not just a truck, it's an F-150, and it's built Ford tough. And by Taco Bell, sometimes you gotta live Moss. With George Frazier and Joel Klatt and Jenny Kavnar and Mark Stout and Jeff Houston. We got the whole crew here. I'm Drew Goodman. And it's me, Joel. I'm telling you.
You brought it down.
I brought it. The
You
snow
brought
last
this
time
from
I
Denver.
came down, and now it's pouring out again. And when it may not rain again for 3 months, as you know, down here. But when it rains down here, it gets serious.
Yeah.
I mean, you get like rivers and floods and Noah's Ark.
There was a flood in the hotel parking lot this morning.
Why'd you park
that?
in it?
Well, I didn't, and I didn't go out in it either. I looked out from the window, and I thought, boy, that doesn't look very nice.
Joel likes to get up around 3:45 in the morning for some reason.
Right.
Here's Willeen Rosario, and he misses the slider from Aaron Crow, former #1 pick.
Young man that they thought coming through the organization would be a very accomplished starter. But it was an all-star as a middle reliever a year ago. You're going to stay in that same spot for their club. They're trying to turn this into a six-inning ball game with this bullpen that they have.
Oh, that was dirty. That slider that strikes out Rosario.
Yeah, good hard slider. He's got a good breaking ball to go, curveball to go with it, explosive fastball with a lot of movement. You could see the job a year ago. 19 holes, 3-1 record. 65 strikeouts in 64-plus innings, only walked 22 and kept the ball in the park, just 4 home runs.
Josh Rutledge, single to left his first time up. That's fouled off toward the Rockies bullpen down the right field line. Of course, Joel Klatt, the Cowboy, Tracy Ringlesby will handle a ton of pregame and postgame shows right here on Root Sports.
I can't wait to get out there, get back out to center field. It's like old home right there, and get back with the fans out there. Hopefully, celebrate some victories and watch a guy like Josh Rutledge play. I really like his game. One of the things I love about Rutledge is he's aggressive on almost every plate appearance. He's one of those guys as a young guy. And George, you know this, and Drew, you've seen it year after year. Sometimes young guys can give at-bats away, and I don't feel like Josh Rutledge does that for a guy that doesn't have a ton of experience. He goes up there and he's aggressive, and he's looking for that pitch to hit right away.
Well, it matches, as you look at Walter, it matches Dante Bichette's M.O., and that is get your best swing off. In other words, let's not be tentative. The other thing I love about him
Like that?
is, hey, he's going to get some leg hits on guys. To your point, Joel, about being a young player, not in the league, may not know you. He's going to get some leg hits on a 2.5 hopper to shortstop, just because he can really run, and a guy may go, right side hitter, and take his time. Next thing you know, it's just like that. It's bang bang at first.
Deceiving speed because he's got a very short torso and long legs. So people look at it and they don't think that's the guy that's a flyer, but he is.
Similar to my body type, Frazier. Chris Nelson with 2 outs. Well,
not the flyer part, the other part.
The long legs.
Anything that has to do with speedy running, count me out. That was not me.
Yeah, you know what?
You had a big line.
Listen, you
see all them guys over there trying to hit me? You all better not let them hit me.
I want to tell you what, because I watched your career. You were a great college quarterback, and you have all kinds of records up there in Boulder. But you'd have a better noggin right now if you could avoid the pass rush a little.
Well, that just wasn't my game, Drew. You got to know how far your 9-iron goes, and I knew outside of the pocket was not my, that was not my forte.
And you couldn't run hard enough to get to the sidelines without him getting you first.
That's
there
right.
You go.
My best bet was getting that ball out of my hand.
Put that double chin strap on. Nelly hits one in the air to left field, and Aaron Crow works a quick and quiet 4th inning. Rockies up 3-1. We move to inning number 5. We'll talk to Walt Weiss shortly. Precipitation in Arizona. They don't even they don't practice putting the tarp out because it never happens.
Here's the thing about it. You got to be nice. They never. I mean, the only time they practice is when they practice because they never put it out for a game. They had it out earlier. But I think the umpire said, you know what, enough's enough. They're walking to center field.
They just banged the game, so they're going to get the tarp out there for the rain. But this is spring training, so in spring training, you don't wait around to get a ball game in. And we are still going to try to talk to Walt Weiss. Our Mark Stout is down there and trying to grab Walt on his way off. George, the thing that, again, unfortunately it's an abbreviated evening of baseball, but the thing that you take away is that De La Rosa, after somewhat shaky first inning, really settled in and pounded the strike zone, retired the last 7 hitters he faced, struck out a couple. That's the best news of the evening.
Oh, there's no question. I mean, you got to be excited about that. You got to be excited that he came out. He attacked the strike zone. He had a pretty good slider, which we haven't seen for about a year. That's what I like, because his slider was filthy when he won those games. 16 ball games. He was 5-2 when he got hurt. Like to see the slider. Thought it was excellent tonight.
Well, here's some of the pictures from De La Rosa working this evening.
I thought here, when you have the command of the fastball and able to put the ball away, it allows every other pitch in your arsenal to be that much better. You're uneasy as a hitter. You're not going to get good swings on baseballs when you're throwing changeups, when you're throwing a slider on the back foot, and showing a curveball occasionally. The first inning, extremely rough. The last 2, outstanding.
And if you're a velocity guy, he worked 91 to 93 most of the evening.
Yeah, not a velocity guy as much as I am movement, as much as I am on the other side of it, is what he did there.
Let's get downstairs. Mark is caught up with the Rockies skipper. Mark, take it away.
Yes, here's the manager, and first question is about Jorge De La Rosa. Came out, threw the ball well, retired the final 7. What did you like from Jorge tonight?
Yeah, Jorge took a step forward. It's going to take a little time. He hasn't been out there much in the last year and a half, and he's not going to be perfect early on in March here, but it was a nice step forward for him.
Difficult night with the conditions, but good night to play a little aggressive baseball, and you guys manufactured some runs, and I know you've talked about having EY and Tex at the top of the order. Can you expand on that?
There was a lot of athleticism at the top of the order there, and we try to get those guys in motion and create some holes, and those guys changed the game with the way they run the bases and the way the defense has to play and the way the pitchers have to pitch. So it's a nice weapon to have at the top.
Skip, we saw Todd Elton do his thing, knocking a couple of runs, put one in play, and then the sac fly.
Yeah, he's been great his whole career in those at bats with runners in scoring position, and he's got a great approach and plays right into his hands. So he's one of the best that's ever done it.
You say that again. Difficult conditions and all, but everything's been going kind of as planned here down in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it's been a good camp so far. I think the guys they came in focused. They're playing hard. They're playing right, and hopefully once the bell rings, we can take this aggressive style into the season, and that's the plan. But so far, so good.
I think I can speak for a lot of people back in the Rocky Mountain region. Good to see number 22 back out there.
All right, thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
All right, Drew, George.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Thanks to Walt Weiss. Again, you get half a baseball game in, but the thing that's most important is De La Rosa threw the ball well. There weren't any challenging plays defensively, but the Rockies, who made a league worst, major league worst, 122 errors, with the good health, they should be an upper echelon defensive team.
Well, it should be like 07 and 09, and that's why they won. They pitched and they caught the baseball. I mean, it's kind of like basketball. You rebound, play defense, you're going to win a lot of games, make your free throws late. I think that's what the Rockies had when they won a lot of baseball games. They had very good defense. They had good pitching, starting pitching that stayed healthy. They had a strong bullpen. They're going to score runs. And if they can just catch the baseball as they did in those years, I think they're going to have a chance to be very successful. If they don't, then it's going to be difficult.
A little preview. We'll be back on the air on Sunday when the Rockies take on the Los Angeles Dodgers. The weather's going to be much better. There's not going to be any threat of a rain out or anything like that. It's going to be warm, typical Arizona weather. That will be, listen, you're going to see the Dodgers a ton during the regular season. But as you start to move into mid-March, things ratchet up a little bit. And that'll be a nice little test on Sunday again.
Well, and I think what you're going to see is that when you do get into that late March area, and there's, people can say that this is a long spring training. Well, to me, they all showed up February 9th last year, too. And they're going to leave here on the 29th to go to Salt Lake and play an exhibition game. What you're going to start to find is the younger players are going to start seeing the guys. You're going to start seeing the Matt Cains, the Kershaws. You're going to see guys with, all of a sudden, it's not a 2-0 fastball. It's a 2-0 changeup. It's a 2-0 slider on the black, on the knees. They're making in-season pitches because they're just 3 starts away from starting their season. And they're trying to get expanded to that 5 or 6 inning start and then back it up. So I think, that's going to be a telling sign for a lot of these younger players that have had a lot of success. Even the pitchers that are facing some AA and AAA hitters and able to get out of some innings. Now you're going to see some of the guys and then see how things go from there.
And also, you see the Kansas City Royals. It's important to file stuff away on these American League clubs. You're going to see more of them
That's
now.
Absolutely
with 15 in each league. Georgie, I thought you were in mid-season form, by the way.
Not really.
No. I thought you were really
It's a little chilly.
It is chilly.
No, it's
but here's
chilly.
the good news. As I said, on Sunday when the Rockies get ready to take on the L.A. Dodgers, it will be much warmer. That's when we'll be on the air next. 2 p.m. back in the Mountain Time Zone. The Rockies in a rain-shortened game, 3-1 through 4 innings.